Have you been told you need to stop doing what you love, whether it's exercise, running, or a sport? Well, here at Dynamic, we don't like that answer. In this podcast, we'll talk to leaders in the health and wellness space from Southwest Florida to get the solutions you need to get you back to doing what you love. Welcome to the Dynamic Naples Podcast. What's going on, Naples? This is episode 5 of the nutrition series, and I want to start this one off with Nightshades. So you may have heard of Nightshades. A lot of diets these days are suggesting limiting or avoiding them altogether, such as the paleo diet or the autoimmune protocol. So what are they? So they come from a class of plants called Belladonna. Belladonna is a deadly species, and supposedly Cleopatra used to take an extract of Belladonna and put in her eyes to dilate her pupils to make her look more attractive. But at higher doses, this kills you. So things such as tomatoes and eggplants and potatoes contain compounds such as atropine that in high levels can be very harmful for you. So nightshades are a descendants of the plant Belladonna. I wanted to bring this up because I think it's important to recognize that plants have compounds in them that are not so great for us. So, of course, we know there's lots of nutrients in plants, but it's sort of skipped over that these things can harm us in some ways, and some plants can trigger some autoimmune disorders. So a lot of people that are dealing with autoimmune go on the autoimmune protocol, and part of that is limiting a lot of these kind of compounds. So I'm going to start off by listing a bunch of these compounds. Now, some of them there's some controversy over, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So let's start off with oxalates. Diets that are high in oxalates are known to cause kidney stones and can inhibit mineral absorption. So oxalates are found in most plants, but are particularly high in leafy greens, beans, berries, and beets. Then you've got phytic acid. So phytic acid can lead to deficiencies in minerals such as zinc and magnesium. They can also cause cramps, hair loss, tingling in the feet and hands. Also high in beans, seeds, nuts, and grains. We've also got sulforaphane. Sulforaphane causes cell death, so when consuming foods high in sulforaphane, glutathione is used up to remove it from the body. It can also lead to hypothyroidism. So glutathione is like this master antioxidant in the body, and you get sort of a pool of it per day, and you know that can really buffer some internal and external stressors. So foods that soak that up is not the greatest thing. Also, sulforaphane competes with iodine. That's why it can cause hypothyroidism, because iodine is important for the thyroid. Sulforaphane is high in the cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli, cauliflower, and kale. Now, I think most people can tolerate these foods and be fine. But if you're having cramps, if you have kidney stones, maybe you have to take a look at your diet, and maybe you have some sensitivities that you don't know about. Another class of quote-unquote toxins is polyphenols. Now, this is one of those ones. It depends who you ask. Some people say it's really good for you, and some say it's bad for you. You can Google it and find all kinds of information. And this is one of the challenges for us with the information age. There's so much information in both directions, so you can find conflicting opinions on just about everything. But with polyphenols, I think this brings up the idea of the Hormetic Effect. So the Hormetic Effect is like the classic, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. All right, so this is just sort of the graphical version of it. So whenever you see a graph that demonstrates a U shape or a J shape, that's an example of the Hormetic Effect. So basically the dip in the U or the J is the region in the graph that tells you, okay, this is going to give you some benefit. Once it gets to a certain point, then you run into risk. A way to think of hormesis is disrupting the balance or the homeostasis of the body. So to disrupt that, you can gain benefit out of it to a certain degree, and that's what makes us more resilient. So somebody who just sits on the couch and doesn't do much probably won't get injured, but then if they have to go do something like get on a plane and fly and like lift some luggage up, suddenly they strain their back because they haven't built up their resilience. So hormesis to an extent is good. Well, it is good, But let's take another example. Let's take fasting. Right? There's lots of known positives associated with fasting, such as decreasing your insulin resistance and weight loss. There's tons of benefits to it. But at a certain point, it can kill you, right? So that's a perfect example of the hormetic effect. And some of these plant compounds, I think, are doing exactly that, such as polyphenols. So maybe some of these plant toxins do have some benefit to us up to a certain point. That's hard to say. I think we're going to learn a lot more about that. But then there are also things that are just straight up bad for us. So that's where I want to talk about industrial seed oils, aka vegetable oils. These things got introduced into our diet a couple decades ago. They were usually initially created for machine lubricants and used as lamp oil, and somehow made its way into our food supply. And these things are ubiquitous. It's in everything. So let me first give you some names of vegetable oils that you should avoid. You've got canola oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, soy oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, grapeseed oil, and rice bran oil. Those are kind of the nastiest ones. The problem with these oils is that you have to expose them to high levels of industrial heat to extract the oil out. That destabilizes the molecule in the oil and basically makes it very unstable and sort of toxic for the body, and creates massive oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is what ages us. That's when you see a banana or an apple rotting and turning brown, that's oxidative stress. A car rusting is oxidative stress. It does the same thing to our body. It basically rusts us in a sense. And that's what antioxidants are for. It's to take away that oxidative stress. These vegetable oils are basically the same as the PUFAs, the polyunsaturated fatty acids. These things are supposed to be in our diet to a certain extent, like 1% to 2% of our intake. But in the past several decades, it's been more like 20 to 30%. So if you've heard of the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, this is what I'm talking about. The omega-6 is the polyunsaturated fatty acids, and those are the ones to be limited or at least reduced back to our normal levels where they should be. And the omega-3s are the ones that we want more of. So the challenge is that these things are everywhere, as I said before. You can, if something comes in a package, almost guaranteed it's got one of these vegetable oils. I mean, start reading the ingredients and look at, you can Google Hateful Eight, that's the name of these oils, and see if they're in your products. Go through your kitchen and find them, and, honestly, you probably should just get rid of them. It's in stuff like hummus. It's in peanut butter. It's in goldfish, any kind of chips, crackers, guaranteed it's in there. Anything fried is usually fried in some type of canola oil, some type of vegetable oil. So fried food is a big no-no. And this is also, I mentioned in an earlier podcast, this is the stuff that damages our cholesterol and causes the fatty streaks in our arteries. These oils can also increase incidence of obesity. It can lead to insulin resistance. It causes widespread inflammation. That inflammation can travel up through the vagus nerve, up into your brain, can cause brain fog. It has also been associated with Alzheimer's and other cognitive deficits. So these things are pretty nasty, and they're not intended to be in our diet. So I'm going to wrap up this episode, and I wanted to raise some awareness that if you have some sensitivities or unexplained symptoms, maybe look at your food consumption. Maybe it's coming from some of these compounds in your diet. If you're having difficulty with weight loss, or you're having diabetic type symptoms or brain fog, maybe look at your cabinet and see how much of these seed oils are actually in there. Because I always tell people avoid seed oils, and they say, well, I just use olive oil. Okay, that's one thing, what you put on your salad or whatever. But these oils are they're sneaky. They're everywhere. So a lot of people don't even realize how much industrial seed oils are getting into their diet. So that's all for this episode. I'll talk to you guys soon. Do you have unexplained pain, or do you wonder just how healthy you are? When was the last time you had your blood tested? Blood chemistry analysis is a great way to stay ahead of any health conditions, and now you can have control of your health with Let's Get Checked. Let's Get Checked is an incredible company that sends blood tests to your home. You can choose from over 30 different tests, whether that's liver function, testosterone, micronutrient, cholesterol, or C-reactive protein, which is a marker for inflammation. It's sent to you with free shipping, and you get your results in 2 to 5 days, no physician referral needed. Use the code DPT30 for 30% off. Go to letsgetchecked.com and use the code DPT30. Did you know that you can get started with physical therapy without a physician's referral? Physical therapists don't just solve pain, we get down to the root cause and keep it from coming back. We also discuss all things health, such as nutrition and lifestyle changes. If you feel that you could use some help, let's get on a free consult call. Go to www.dynamicnaples.com and sign up for a free call. Also, if you like this podcast, please give us a rating wherever you listen to podcasts. It helps us spread the message. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.